Okay, this repair instruction is for replacing the PC6 brake cable. The first thing we need to do is remove the pads from the chair, and then we need to fully recline the chair. If the cable breaks while the chair is not fully reclined, locate the tab that's on the outside of the brake mechanism and use a screwdriver to push that tab inward, and then releasing the brake cable, and then position the chair into a full recline position. We're going to use a 3/16 inch Allen wrench to remove the 3 bolts on the left-hand inner side panel. Using the same Allen wrench, then, we're going to remove the 4 bolts located on the underside of the left-hand armrest. Once those 4 bolts are removed, you can lift the left-hand armrest up to expose the mounting plate beneath it. Use that same Allen wrench to remove the 2 screws that secure the mounting plate to the armrest. Next, turn the armrest upside down. And use your fingers to fold back the upholstery in the area where the cable enters the armrest. This will expose the bracket that holds the cable in place inside the armrest. Use a screwdriver to split open that bracket to free the cable. Locate the nut that secures the cable to the mounting plate. Before doing anything else, we need to measure the amount of cable thread that's on the side of the bracket that's opposite the nut. You'll need to make sure that when the new cable is installed, that same amount of thread is located on the opposite side of the bracket. Then, using a 10mm open wrench, loosen the nut. It helps to hold the cable in place with a plier while turning the nut. Then, using a pair of pliers, unscrew the bolt, which enables you to remove the entire cable from the bracket. Once the cable is removed from the bracket, remove the nut from the cable. Now that the cable is free at this end, the next step is to remove the other end of the cable from the chair. To remove the brake cable from the brake mechanism, use a screwdriver to pry the clip that holds the cable in place off of the brake mechanism. and remove the brake from the mechanism. The final step is to remove the retaining clip from the end of the brake cable. You'll need this clip to install the new brake cable. Simply push firmly down on the cable to detach it from the clip. To install the new brake cable, the first step is to install the retaining clip you removed from the old brake cable with the long side first onto the new cable. Then install that end of the cable into the brake. Install the retaining clip onto the inside of the brake mechanism. And then press the brake cable down into the bracket. Thread the cable through the canvas guide on the bottom of the seat canvas, and then up between the side of the seat canvas and the right leg of the chair. Once the cable is threaded up through the cable guide on the inside of the arm, you need to continue the cable up through the hole, up and through the armrest, until it comes out the top. Okay, next we're going to place the nut we removed earlier back on the end of the cable. And then we're going to thread the cable through the metal bracket, the metal mounting plate. And here's where we need to position the cable with the same amount of threading on the outside of the bracket as there was with the previous cable. Okay. Then we're going to apply a small amount of Loctite to the threads on the nut side of the table of the bracket. We don't have Loctite right here. And then you would tighten the nut over that Loctite. It just helps to hold the nut in place securely. And then tighten the nut to secure it firmly against the metal bracket using the open wrench. Next step is to install the end of the cable into the clamp on the underside of the armrest. And then use a needle nose pliers to gently crimp the bracket closed to secure the cable. Once you place the mounting plate on top of the armrest, use the Allen wrench to secure it using the 2 bolts you removed before. If you have trouble installing the bolts into the hole, check the barrel nut on the back of the armrest to ensure that it's horizontal. This must be aligned horizontally in order for the bolts to clear the holes in the armrest. Incidentally, you can also do this if you have difficulty pushing the brake cable up through the armrest. It may be that same issue. Make sure that barrel nut is aligned horizontally in the back of the armrest. Once the mounting plate is secure, place the armrest back into place and secure it using the 4 bolts you removed earlier. Once the armrest is secure, you should test the lever to make sure the brake cable is installed properly. Make sure there's the appropriate amount of tension. So lift up on the lever and manually recline and incline the chair to make sure it's reclining properly. If the chair won't lock in place, meaning the cable is too loose, or if there's too much tension, meaning the cable is too tight, you'll need to remove the left-hand armrest again and adjust that cable so that the amount of threading on the outside of that bracket is the same as it was before. This can take some trial and error in adjusting. Just simply loosen the nut and adjust the length, the amount of cable that is on the outside of the bracket until the brake cable tension is correct. Finally, place the inner side panel back in place on the inside of the left-hand armrest and secure it using the 3 bolts you removed earlier. And that's how you replace a PC6 brake cable.